Dark Files, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to get on here real quick and talk about what everybody's been talking about on social media, and that is Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Everybody's been saying that she was on the Breakfast Club and she was being interviewed and talked to and everything. I've seen the clips and all that type of stuff. I normally don't watch the Breakfast Club and shit like that. You know, let's say they have like certain guests on or whatever else. But from the clips that I've seen and everything else, she has been asked questions directly about her PhD, her doctorate and everything. She's supposed to be a doctor of psychology and everything else. However, they can't find anything that corroborates that. So she's being brought up on fraud charges within the black community. You know, we're accusing her of being a fake and a fraud because people have literally gone through licensure programs and everything else with schools and everything else, and they can prove it instantly. So when they confronted her, the camera showed that she's stuttering and stammering and looking off to the side and everything else. And she's coming up with this long-winded excuse of how, oh, she went there and then all of a sudden the school don't exist no more. And then all of a sudden you only keep her transcripts for 2 years and she can't find it. And people who literally went to the same school to her and literally went to some of the same programs and everything else, they're like, yeah, you can still get your copy of your degree, dissertation, all the information that shows and proves that, okay, you got a doctorate. And so her being confronted about this or whatever else, instead of her just dropping the bullshit and being like, okay, look, you know what I'm saying? I went through it. I didn't succeed. I didn't go ahead, complete the program or whatever else and become a doctor or whatever else. Instead of her just like doing that, she doubled down on it. She's decided she wants to start telling people that she don't give a fuck at all what anybody else thinks about her having a degree or not. Now, I'm Mike Starks from the Mike Starks Show. I did an episode a while back where I did an episode called Rich Privilege. And basically, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant was talking about Cam Newton. And she was talking to Cam Newton about how he's got like 8 kids by 3 different women and how he's creating broken homes and everything else. And I was the one defending people like him. I was defending Cam Newton. I was defending the Nick Cannons and stuff like that and saying, hey, look, it's different when a black man is rich and can afford to take care of all his fucking kids. And I was getting on there talking about how basically that's different than Pookie and Ray Ray down the fucking street or whatever else who ain't got $750 in their account. They got a bunch of kids they can't take care of. Cam Newton got $75 million. And so I was going on that and I was talking about how basically something seemed wrong about her or whatever else and how basically black women were eating that whole thing up going, yeah. And I had to bring up some instances of other women, like a couple of instances of other women out there who basically they got money too, but they was out here having a bunch of kids with no husband and stuff like that. And I had to bring that up and say, hey, look, is that creating broken homes and shit like that? So everybody was all on her side and everything when she was back. You know, I think it's like a year ago, something like that. I had the episode. Go back and check out Rich Privilege on the Mike Stark Show. But that's when I was already talking about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant and everything else, because something didn't seem right about her. And she was going ahead and speaking real negatively about black men, how we're destroying homes and how we're messing up the black community and everything else. Something seemed real wrong about her. Now, everybody is really kind of looking at her and seeing like, okay, do you got a for real degree? You know what I'm saying? Because you put doctor on everything, and now we're seeing you ain't got a damn degree at all. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be a doctor of psychology and everything else, and you ain't got no damn degree. You being brought up on fraud charges in the black community, and you might literally be brought up on fraud charges for real. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, there have been clips that show that people talked to her and said basically, simplest thing to do is own up to it and drop the doctor. And just be Cheyenne Bryant. You can still do your fucking job and everything else, but you don't have to claim that you have a degree in clinical psychology or whatever the fuck you're supposed to be having on there. You don't have to do any of that. And so she's doubling down on it. She's like, you know what I'm saying, getting an attitude and getting all pissy about the situation, talking about, well, she don't have to prove anything to anybody. She went through it, everything else. But this is the internet. Every time you say some shit like that, make a claim like that or whatever else, people can go look your shit up. And people have done what you claim that you're doing. And that is such a slap in the face to the people who really put in the work to get a degree in clinical psychology and everything else, to get a doctorate in anything. For you to just claim that and then make money and then have people bring you onto their show and you have book deals and all that kind of stuff under the name of doctor when you don't have a doctorate in it at all. So I can see why a lot of people they are pissed at her, but are also clowning her too on the internet and being like, oh, okay, it's fake it till you make it. It's all this type of bullshit like that. I guess I could just say, yeah, I got a doctorate too. But see, what happened was, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to me showing where my cap and gown is, where's my dissertation is, where is all the information showing I have a degree, why I don't have my degrees posted up behind me, all type of shit. See, what happened was, and there's always some long-winded excuse. We could all just do that shit then. Because if I was her, I would have told the truth. Like, yeah, I got into the program, I didn't finish it or whatever else. I'm doctor in the same sense that Dre is a doctor. Dr. Dre. I'm doctor in the same sense that Dr. Pepper is a doctor. Like, I'm not really a doctor, but you know what I'm saying? I'll be doing the work and shit like that. I'll be doing psychology shit. Like, that's what she should say. I never understand when motherfuckers catch you up on some shit, why you don't try to make that work. You're going to double down on it and make it even worse. If you're being brought up on fraud charges in the black community, if you're being brought up on being fake and phony and everything else, just own up to it. Just own up to it. I did another podcast at the Mike Star Show called Man-Size Issues, where I basically said for men, and this is going to apply to women too, but basically, tell on yourself. You know what I'm saying? If before an issue even comes up or whatever else, you go ahead and tell on yourself, bring the issue out there. Because the issue comes out to that, hey, we found out this is about, we exposed you about that, whatever else. You know what I'm saying? You're ahead of the issue before somebody tries to expose you about something like that. Her, if she knew this was going to come around and everything else, she should have been quietly dropped the doctor off or whatever, and somebody brought that up to her, then she can control the narrative and say, well, I dropped the doctor off of it because I have been going under doctor for so long, I don't have the credentials for it and everything else, and we all would have understood that shit. But for people to go ahead and expose you and say, hey, you don't have the credentials to be saying you're doctor and everything else, and that's basically a slap in the face for the people who put in the work to have a PhD, a doctorate in something like that or whatever else. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are really getting at her right now. She should have got ahead of that. She should have said, okay, well, I'm going to drop the doctorate or whatever else, or just own up to it. Because you're making it worse by lying. It's lies on top of lies and everything else. You're getting caught up. You're in trouble about this shit. And, you know, you're going to end up on just an island of obscurity. People are not going to fuck with you no more because you lie, and then you lie on top of your lies. And so I just think that's ridiculous. People are really clowning her. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not qualified, but you got the job, or you're not qualified, but you went out there and made a living out of, you know what I'm saying, just lie or whatever else, own up to it. Say, hey, look, I went this far saying I was a doctor and everything else. Now I'm going to drop the doctor off it. I'm still going to go out here and do clinical psychology. Give them something instead of you just lying and saying, yeah, for real, I'm a doctor. I know you can't find my credentials and everything else, but I'm a doctor for real, and having some story about it. Especially a lie that people can instantly go on the internet the same day and find out you a fucking lie. You say you went to Argosy University or whatever it may be, and some people who went there are like, yeah, you can go to Parchment and get copies of this, copies of that, more information on this and that. You could show and prove and just quiet this whole thing. And that's the thing about people who get caught up in lies like that. It's so easy for you to just quiet an issue. To instantly show and prove, hey, here's what my degree is. Here's my information. You could show a picture of you in your cap and gown. You could be like, here's me at the of my graduation. Whatever the fuck it may be. Simply putting out some information to go ahead to quiet that issue would have just did that right there. You're making it worse because you have nothing to prove what you're talking about, and everybody's exposing you. But like I said, as far back as the issue, maybe a year or two ago when I was doing a podcast called Rich Privilege, where she was basically on the Cam Newton show and everything else, and she was going at him, trying to, you know, psychologize him and everything else. Like, I knew something was wrong with her anyway. Go back and check out that episode. But yeah, basically she's the talk of the internet right now because everybody's looking at her like, why didn't she just go ahead and admit it? Why didn't you just admit it? Why you gotta make up the story like you just can't get access and information? Then you want to get an attitude and say, well, I don't give a fuck with anybody else think. I know I'm a doctor. I know I got my degree and everything else. Like, you can't prove it. And you're going to be facing like legal shit because you've been, you know what I'm saying, making these fraudulent claims and everything else. Like, you really for real get in trouble. Just own up to the shit, drop the doctor off it, and start all new. People don't know how to go ahead and control the narrative. The first thing is she knew she was bullshitting. So when this even came around, before even any of this came around, she should have went ahead and quietly dropped the doctrine. Or, you know what I'm saying, do something like that. So that's what I just wanted to bring up, ladies and gentlemen, because I just think that that's very idiotic that when people go ahead and get caught up in these situations, you have no exit strategy at all. People expose you on their shows and stuff. They say, hey, come on to the breakfast show. They start asking you about your degrees and shit like that. Finds you ain't got no degrees. And then you tell a lie where somebody could just go on the internet and be like, well, you lying. You could just go to this place or that place. They'll send you a copy of a degree if you really was there. There's so many easy, simple ways to prove something exists. If you say it exists, if you say a degree exists, a doctorate degree exists, you can simply prove it more in more ways than one. It's easy to prove. You're gonna put lie on top of lie on top of lie, making yourself look bad to the point where you're gonna be losing all these book deals and everything else. Nobody's gonna want you to be on their show. Nobody wants to fuck with you no more. Anything. You look crazy. Your name is viral right now for all the wrong reasons. And you could have made the best of the situation by just being honest. Or you could have got ahead of the situation by just quietly dropping the doctor. And if anybody asks you about it, now you can tell people, hey, look, I didn't exactly finish all my courses, blah, blah, blah. Then you can give the reasoning you have right now that, hey, I don't exactly have my copy of my degree, all this type of shit like that. Until I can go ahead and obtain the information, I won't be putting doctor on anything. Ain't nothing wrong with being Cheyenne Bryant and you be out here just, psychologizing things, whatever, and making appearances and doing what you're doing. You riding off of being a doctor and you don't have the credentials, and that's illegal. So now you even brought up on fraud charges in the black community, but that's actually literally illegal. And the internet is clowning you. They pulling your black card because that's some weird ass shit to be doing and doubling down on. You know what I'm saying? You're making everybody look bad. I seen a video today from a black woman who was basically talking about how this type of shit makes black women look bad. Because black women would be the main ones walking around talking about how y'all the most highly educated, best educated women in this country, blah, blah, blah. And then some of y'all being brought up on fraud charge. Y'all find y'all ain't got no degrees. Y'all calling yourself doctors this and doctors that and claiming y'all got all this type of stuff like this. And she was basically saying you making black women look bad because there are women like her out there claiming they got all these degrees and shit, all this education, all of this stuff you claim you have. You own this business, you had that book deal, and yet you can't prove any of this type of shit when somebody really looked into this shit. And you running scams basically on people. Because that may work on a few other people who are not going to go ahead and do the research and look into you. But when they do, you know what I'm saying? Don't keep continuing bullshitting people. Just be fucking for real. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, and that's doctors in air quotes because she ain't really a doctor. It's this week's stupid nigga.
Stupid.
I'll catch y'all with the next one. Peace.